Hello, folks. Welcome back to Fearox Movie Reviews. First off, I just want to apologize for, fortunately, I've been sick for the last couple of. Now, here's the thing. During the beginning of April, I was supposed to review I was actually supposed to start watching the movie, and of course, I was going to do the film review. Unfortunately, I got hit with so much ridiculous crap and a lot of stuff. Like I was trying to help out some friends, help out my family, but and of course it was the Easter holiday as well. And the following week was actually a spring break for me, so I thought I could actually watch the film and get the review done right there, right then and there. That is until I got a very bad cold. So as you can see, I'm already 2 weeks behind, and I want to apologize for that. So, so you think that's actually, and here's the thing, it's actually for me not that easy because I have to watch the entire film first, then I talk about the review, and then with my phone here, I take snapshots of the scenes that are actually very much requireable for the review. And of course, if it's an R-rated film, I gotta make sure not to get any of the, R-rated shit on there though. Unless you can tell it's a terrible crop. I mean, because YouTube's laws are really screwed up at this point. But either way, it's time to do the review. And what film am I reviewing? Well, I think it's about time we talk about Chuck Norris again. Now, yes, I am aware of the fact, and my last review, I actually did Patriot Games. Unfortunately, Chuck Norris's passing was very, very unfortunate, and it was deeply saddening to everybody. The worst part for me is that I actually had just got done watching the movie Patriot Games, and I was going to start doing the review, and during my break of the review, I actually found out that he had passed away in between. So I thought maybe I should do a Chuck Norris film. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm already doing this movie's review, so yeah. So seriously, it was horrible timing for me. So today I'm going to talk about the one film that is basically credited as the ultimate Chuck Norris archetype. Yes, in case you didn't partly know about Chuck Norris, what comes down to his films, he has an archetype, like a certain character archetype over the years. But there is one film that came out in the early 80s, that was the ultimate archetype. That actually started his career in television in the 90s, and became one of his more popular. And this archetype was used for that character, and for his and it's also one of his widely known famous characters, which was Walker Texas Ranger. Before there was Walker Texas Ranger, there was this character, J.J. McQuade. So yes, we are going to be talking about the movie that started the ultimate archetype for Chuck Norris. Ladies and gentlemen, Lone Wolfe McQuade. Cue the seriously, cue the title card. Come on, kill it. Yes. Lone Wolfe McQuade is actually one of Chuck Norris's best movies ever made. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't Chuck Norris have a plethora of great movies? Yes, he does. Yes, he does, my friends. As a matter of fact, Lone Wolfe McQuade is actually one of the movies I actually have several copies of. Yeah, well, I actually was doing some DVD buying, because I'm a media collector in one way or another. I prefer physical media as opposed to digital shit. But the thing is, what comes down to it, though, I have multiple DVDs and multiple DVDs of one particular movie. But it's actually due to the fact that it's actually part of a film collection. So don't be surprised if you're a media collector like me, and you're trying to collect like film collectors and stuff. You're gonna probably have more than one copy of the same movie. And Lone Wolfe McQuade actually had the two copies I have are from the Free Pack Fiction collection and Chuck Norris The Ultimate Attack Pack collection. Oh yes. And Wolfe McQuade is surprising the first movie on each one of these things. That's a good sign, my friend. That's a good sign. But if you're gonna get one of these 3-pack action collection, do not get the two. Do not get the one that actually has Code of Silence and the 2 Delta Force films. All right, for some reason, I actually have. Okay, I do have that one, but that one actually has a terrible rating because Delta Force 2 runs perfectly well. Picture quality is good, sound quality is good, but the problem is for the Delta Force and for Code of Silence, halfway through the film, the audio just is delayed for some reason. I'm not even joking. But for all 3 of these movies, they work perfectly well. And for this thing, well, okay, for one thing, all 3 of these things are all 3 of these movies are on one DVD. Whether with this pack, they're all on separate DVDs. So if you were basically going to collect any Chuck Norris DVD collections, most likely get this one, okay? Same, okay? You're better off with that. But doesn't really matter. All those films I have there, top notch. Those are good movies. Those are good movies from Chuck Norris. But enough about that. Let's get the film review started. The movie basically starts off with J.J. McQuade actually on the outskirts in on the countryside of Texas, keeping an eye out for bandits, of course, because he is a Texas Ranger, and he is a hardened Texas Ranger. But there's a bit of a joke that was actually in Walker, Texas Ranger, that a lot of people joked about for years. But here's the thing. This movie actually proved that wasn't really a joke. Yeah, the joke goes, anyway, the saying goes that it's one riot, one ranger, okay? And, of course, in the show, Walker, Texas Ranger, the Rangers are badasses. And to be fair, they actually are badasses in real life. But this movie takes it a little too far by showing it Chuck Norris style, okay? Anyway, McQuade actually wanders into Mexican bandits that are actually stealing a bunch of horses. Led by this one Mexican gang leader who is basically the typical Mexican gang leader that screams heavily in Spanish, and also the old set, and of course says the same Spanish tone words over and over again. Though, but it turns out McQuade was actually about to take them down until they get intercepted by state troopers, by the Texas state troopers. And one of the state troopers, I shit you not, is played by Robert Beltran. Yes, Commander Chakotay himself from Star Trek Voyager is in this movie. Although ironically, in the following film, he was also in the movie Night of the Comet too. It's like, wow, you know what? He actually had a huge career back in the early '80s before he went on the television and became one of the most respected Star Trek cast members of all time. Yeah, so yeah, Chakotay's in this movie, but he's known as Ko. But he's known as Arcadio. But his real name is Arcadio Ramos, also known as Ko. Yeah, Ko. Go figure. Okay. Anyway, the troopers actually try to stop the bandits, but the bandits are being a bunch of bastards, and the leader, well, okay, they gun a majority of them down and take them hostage until McQuade shoots out the trucks with his rifle. Yeah, not like an anti-tank rifle, but an actual rifle. All right, just a regular bolt-action rifle. All right, and the leader, being an asshole that he is, he shoots the lead deputy. It's like, dude, had several Texas state troopers killed, and you just shot the lead deputy for no fucking reason, just to get the Rangers' attention. That's death penalty shit right there. You're a dead fucking man, okay? But you know what happens? Does J.J. McQuade shoot the guy? By all accounts, he should have, but no. McQuade walks all the way down there, meets up the guys. The leader has his men actually hold McQuade by his arms. He says, "You know, it's funny. One of you Texas Rangers actually kicked my father's teeth in. Are you gonna kick my teeth in, Ranger?" That's exactly what he does. He literally kicks him in the face so hard he breaks it. All of his front teeth he swallows his front teeth. It was meant as a joke, but dude, it happened, okay? Not to mention McQuade beats the shit out of the other men, and he, with a small subgun, he guns down all the other bandits and beats the crap out of the leader even more and arrests him. Or he even releases Chakotay, and yeah, Chakotay beats the shit out of the guy until McQuade tells him to get off of him. You know what? Here's the thing, too. This movie is rated PG, but here's the thing. This movie was released in 1983. So if this was released a year later, this would easily be a PG-13 movie. So this is one of those hardened PGs that is an easy PG-13 by today's standards. And you know what? That's a good thing, my friends. That is a good thing. Afterwards, McQuade actually goes to a retirement party for his old buddy Dakota, who is now fully retired from being the Texas Rangers. His captain actually takes him in, actually has McQuade go into the office to actually give him a lecture that this lone wolf attitude is no longer valid for the modern day Texas Rangers. Yeah, good luck with that. That's all I gotta say. Good luck with that. With that shit. Yeah, just good luck telling him that. Anyway, he says he has to be partner. He has to have a partner, and in this case, he gives him KO as his partner, which of course McQuade flat out refuses. Now, to his credit, KO tries his best to actually try to make friends with him, but of course, with McQuade's lone wolf attitude, he basically tells him to get lost. He doesn't want a partner. So yeah, he legitimately tries, but you know what? It's one of those buddy cop movies. You know, he's gonna actually accept the guy regardless later on. So yeah, so what do we see? We actually see McQuade being a badass and like target shooting and doing martial arts training in his own place. Yeah, okay, sure. Why? Because it's Chuck Norris. God damn it, that's why. Yeah. So eventually, Chuck actually goes to meet his wife, his ex-wife Molly, and meets up with his daughter Sally. And if you're a Friday the 13th fan, you may recognize Sally as is Dana Kimmel. Yeah, as in the girl who plays Christy from Part 3, who actually killed Jason with a machete to the head. Yeah. Chuck Norris's daughter was actually in a Friday the 13th movie as the final girl. You know what? All I can say is, Jason, you're lucky it was her and not Chuck Norris himself. This would be a completely different movie altogether. Actually, I would like to see Chuck Norris go up against somebody like Jason. How would that? Oh wait, we already did. Yeah, I keep forgetting. You've seen the movie Silent Rage. He goes up against an immortal killer who just won't fucking die. And technically, the whole slasher film element thing is pretty much identical to Hero and the Terror with Simon Moon's character. Although the difference is that Simon Moon's character is more like Michael Myers, but actually has more of a mindset of Jason Voorhees. And you know, god damn it, I gotta watch that movie again. That is such a good movie. Yeah. Anyway, Sally introduces her army boyfriend to Jimmy, and of course they actually go. And Jimmy takes her horseback riding, where of course something bad happens to the horse, and the horse runs wild until one of the horse wranglers named Lola comes by to actually to help Sally out. And Lola is basically the love interest of the entire movie. And then we're introduced to our main villain, played by David Carradine. That's right. Kane from Kung Fu is in this movie. This movie has Kane from Kung Fu and Walker Texas Ranger on opposite sides. You know this is going to be good, right? Right? Actually, ironically enough, you know that Tony Zhao that YouTube channel actually it's called Tony Zhao's that does like the resounding and everything. In honor of Chuck Norris, they actually redid the entire final fight sequence with Chuck and David Carradine using updated sound effects. And you know what? It just hits. It hits. No, it really does actually hit. Anyway, the character's name is actually. Actually, I have Wikipedia up here right now. Is Riley Wilkes. Really? Riley Wilkes? That is kind of a lame name. Also, his license plate is actually spelled karate with a C. Really? Okay. Well, anyway, Wilkes is actually a champion karate fighter, and he actually wants to challenge McQuade into a karate fight. But basically, McQuade is not really interested. So we actually see a bit of an exhibition between Rylands and a couple of other martial arts experts, and Rylands tends to actually beats the shit out of him. At some point during the same party, KO is actually gets into an altercation with a couple of Ryland's guys, and McQuade steps in and helps him out. The workhorse, Rylands almost starts a fight with him, but Lola actually winds up stopping him. Now, eventually, Lola and McQuade actually strike up a bit of a romance. And this does actually play into the movie's plot a lot because there's a huge dynamic between these two characters. With these two actually going back and forth, like Lola is trying to get more into McQuade, and McQuade is recently divorced, and he's actually okay being the lone wolf. But his lone wolfness is being challenged by this whole relationship thing. Yeah. And also, I should mention that McQuade's has been doing a lot of investigative work into one of the mafia gangsters known as Falcone. And Falcone has been doing a ton of dealings with Wilkes. And Wilkes is actually part of the main mafia. It's actually one of the main enforcers of the mafia. Well, part of the local gang he's working with, which actually steals a bunch of military-grade weaponry, and he kills off the competition if everyone gives him a bad attitude. Okay, you know what? I would say that's stupid, but after playing GTA online for several weeks in a row, and now I'm playing Skyrim again, all I can say is, with all the stuff you do online and everything, Rollins' plan actually works out better than what Trevor Phillips at Enterprises actually works out. Yeah. So I'll say, would I rather work for Wilkes or I'd rather work for Trevor Phillips? I'd rather work for Wilkes. Because at least with this guy, it's all military precision. All joking aside. Plus, all joking, and also, I'm pretty sure he can really kick Trevor's ass relatively easily, considering the fact that Trevor is mostly a junkie, but Wilkes is actually a professional killer. Do the math. As the film goes on, we see that Lola and McQuade's relationship, kind of is a little rocky. It's like a love-hate relationship, and then let's have dinner, and we're gonna make love a little bit later on. Okay, it's one of those type of relationships, It's typical '80s movie action bullshit, but you know what? What do you say? Shit like that happens a lot, and we have somebody like Chuck Norris there, it's about to happen. Anyway, later on, we find out that Sally and her boyfriend Bobby, who's actually, like I said, he's a U.S. Army. But here's the thing: they actually witnessed a U.S. Army convoy get hit and hijacked by Wilkes' men. And the thing is, Wilkes' men actually spot them and kill Bobby and ram Sally. And Sally's actually hiding in the car. They ram the car and she gets hospitalized. She's still alive though. This actually flies McQuade into a rage that he wants to go on revenge and find out who the perpetrators are. Thanks to KO and his computer knowledge, they actually find some information about who one of the perpetrators actually is, so they actually go after the guy and murder them. But they don't take him in. No, they don't take him in and run away. They actually bring him to Dakota's place and question him there, in typical fashion. Yes, they use that sub gun on him a lot. That 10, whatever. Anyway, McQuade actually gets yelled at even by the feds themselves. With this Fed in particular named Jackson, who's been going after these guys for some time now. So yeah, it turns out the feds actually have a profile on these particular guys in general. So before any other information gets any leaked by any means, McQuade goes after Falcone, who's actually one of the lead mobsters in the area, though. But of course, Falcone actually tells him that it's too bad I don't get any information on that guy they actually got. And what does he mean by that? He means that there's actually a hit team already there. Yeah, unbeknownst to Teo and Dakota, yeah, Wilkes' men are already there, and they actually start a bit of a shootout. Where KO is actually under siege, and he doesn't actually see much of anything. And Dakota is killed by Wilkes himself, and Wilkes actually kills the informant before anything else can be said. McQuade arrives too late, and he gets chewed out by the feds. However, at this point, McQuade is pretty much off the case. And here's the thing: Wilkes' boys actually keep on hitting McQuade a lot. They actually keep on attacking McQuade and telling him there's practically nothing he can do. Plus, they actually kill his dog. Yeah, the nerve of these people. Okay, seriously, there are lines you just don't cross in these movies, all right? Going after a guy where he's off the case, you're just asking for him to kill you guys. But you kill his dog? You might as well be singing to the angels at this point. Oh, wait, no, fuck that. You're going to be singing to the devil himself. Yeah, you're going to be down there and going to put the devil on your knees in front of the devil. Like, that's right, you're going to sing for me. You're going to kiss my ass and you're going to lick my balls. You ain't going up in heaven. You killed Chuck Norris's dog, you dumb motherfuckers. Hey, these guys are idiots. Hey, you know what? Action film logic. Bad guys are fucking idiots. They never learn. They just never fucking learn. No sirree. Well, eventually Jackson winds up talks to McQuade and actually convinces him, recruits him and KO to actually help him look for where all the shipments went, where all the stolen guns went to. During our aerial recon with a plane here, they actually find this weird old army, this weird airfield, and so to come back, and then the following day to come back in at night. Unfortunately, one of the other federal agents decides to call. Well, here's the thing: they actually find out it's the location where all the guns are. But okay, dear God, I gotta be honest here. All right, now before this whole thing happens, McQuade actually wanted to actually got Sally discharged, and he took her home. And he said he was going to stay away from all this stuff, and then Jackson recruits him. So, yeah. Shit never really works out the way you intend it to work out. Am I right? So, anyway, the other federal agent actually tells them to throw down their weapons during their arrest. This starts an immediate firefight that actually kills off most of the federal agents. That was just stupid. Jackson gets injured in the process. Both KO and McQuade both get shot, but they both survive with minimal injuries. But McQuade probably gets it the worst because he actually tries to fight these guys off by using karate and gunplay. Unfortunately, he gets overwhelmed because of his gunshot wound, and of course, we find out that Wilkes beats the shit out of him in an unfair fight. Why? Because he's played by Derek Carradine. Do the math. We also find out that Lola was actually still working with him, but it was a little bit later on we found out that she had no idea what any of this was all about. So she was just as shocked as everybody else was. So she basically tells Wilkes not to kill him. So Wilkes, rather than insteadly kill him, they actually bury him in the side of his truck and bury him alive. While KO actually continues fighting on, shooting most of the bad guys that are left behind after Wilkes leaves. And McQuade, well, since this truck is actually supercharged, he actually gets the truck out of the car. He actually gets his truck out of the dirt and actually runs over the remaining bad guys. One more bad guy almost gets a drop on him, but doesn't survive. And surprise, surprise, Jackson's still alive too. So what they all do, it's like, get us all beer. So they all just drink beer and just assess the situation, what just happened. Yep, now they know that it's Wilkes. They have a suspect. Anyways, McQuade actually wants to check about Molly, but Molly's panicking because it turns out that Wilkes actually kidnapped his daughter. They never learn. You know what? This is a cliche that happens a lot in action movies and in horror movies. Bad guys never fucking learn. They just don't, okay? Especially in the 80s and 90s. They don't fucking learn at all. No, they don't. They really don't. They don't fucking learn at all, and they wonder why they lose at the end. They just don't. But surprisingly, Falcone actually goes to meet McQuade and tells him exactly where he is. Tells him exactly where Wilkes is, but on one condition: go after Wilkes, but don't leave my merchandise alone. Yeah, good luck with that. So McQuade actually heads down to Mexico without and leaves KO behind, only to discover that Jackson was already there in Mexico waiting for him, and KO makes his way down there regardless. So it's like, yeah, you really can't do anything. Yeah, dude, these guys are your partners. Just go with it, McQuade. So they eventually find the compound where Wilkes is. And of course, Lola actually tries to comfort Sally. That is until McQuade and the guys stir shit up. Yep, in typical action movie fashion, they fuck shit up. The right way. The action film way. The fighting continues on and on. Gunplay here, gunplay there. Chuck Norris kicking ass here and there with his hands and feet like usual. Oh yeah, it's all good stuff. At some point, David Carradine actually uses one of those military actually uses a military ATV vehicle that, I don't know what this thing is actually called. I'm just going to say it's a prototype of the Bradley assault vehicle. And don't get me started with the Bradley, because there's that whole... Because I could probably do the Pentagon Wars movie at some point later on, but at this point, I'm just going to flat out, ignore that for now. And Chuck Norris actually commandeers a bulldozer, and they play chicken, where, of course, since the thing actually has the bed that goes up and down, the military vehicle flat out loses. And so we get the famous hand-to-hand combat, hand-to-hand fight scene between Chuck Norris and David Carradine. Oh, yeah, so Wilkes has mocked Wolfe McQuade long enough. And so they fight. And bit of a fun fact here, this supposedly one of the kicks that David Carradine did to Chuck Norris's ribs actually broke one of his ribs, but he continued on the entire fight scene with a broken rib. You know what? Say what you want about Chuck Norris. This guy is a fucking trooper. All right? That's why he's a GOAT. He will always be the GOAT. Yeah. The fucking GOAT. Anyway, so the fight continues on for a little while. At some point, McQuade actually gets beaten down until Sally tries to intervene, but Carradine does the dumbest thing you can do in these type of movies, and of course, beats her. He actually hits her. He hits her pretty hard in the face. I've said it before, and I'll just say it again. Bad guys never fucking learn. So Chuck Norris beats the ever-loving shit. So yeah, McQuade beats the ever-loving shit out of Wilkes. Like, literally, just beats the shit out of him. Literally, just karate chops, judo throws, kicking the shit out of him, and everything. Yep. Bad guys never learn. He just fucking learned. Until one of Wilkes' boys comes to check on him, and he grabs a MAC-10 from the guy and tries to shoot at him, tries to shoot McQuade, but Lola gets in the way and gets killed and actually gets gunned down. She actually wants him. She dies in McQuade's hands and tells her what really happened, why she works for Wilkes. It turns out he had murdered her husband years ago, and she actually admits she actually loved McQuade, and she openly dies. With the assistance of Ramos and Jackson, McQuade actually corners Wilkes inside of an army bunker with a bunch of gas tanks all over the place. So okay, Wilkes is shooting at McQuade with a MAC-10, and he's dodging the bullets, and he's holding a grenade, and he pulls the pin and throws the grenade, and thus and because of that, Wilkes goes into the bunker, only for the bunker to blow the fuck up, killing him instantly from the blast. That's one way to get rid of David Carradine's character. Here's another fun fact. There's actually, sometime during the fight, Well, KO accidentally throws a grenade at a group of guys. Only he forgot to pull the pin from the grenade. It's like, oh shit, I know I forgot something. And so the second grenade he actually throws, he actually remembered to pull the pin out, but the guys ignored it until it blows up. Not gonna lie, that is actually pretty fucking hilarious. And this was actually in any other war film, any combat film, that would be beyond hilarious. Oh god. So yeah, the base is practically destroyed. All the armaments are mostly destroyed. And guess what else happens? Falcone actually comes in via helicopter and curses out McQuade, telling him he destroyed all the merchandise. And what does McQuade do? McQuade, Sally, Jackson, and KO actually commandeer Falcon's chopper and says, "Good luck with the Federales," and they just fly away, leaving him for the Mexican fence to deal with. That's pretty freaking hilarious when you think about it. So the movie, they get back to Texas. Some time passes. A little time passes. McQuade and the feds are both honored due to the operation, and well, it looks like McQuade is actually going to spend some time with his art until KO comes back and tells him there's actually a hostage situation at the bank. And McQuade, yeah, he decides to help out KO and actually take care of the criminals. It's because he's hardwired as a Texas Ranger. And you know what? That's the movie. The movie ends right there on a somewhat decent note. And that, my friends, was the old Wolfe McQuade. Is it a good movie? It's one of Chuck Norris's best movies ever. But here's the thing: the movie is depicted as practically a action film, gunplay film, martial arts film, but done in a Western style setting. Yeah, this is done as a Western style. And you know what? It works out perfectly well. Why? Because it's Chuck fucking Norris, the GOAT, the motherfucking GOAT, and the archetype that actually created Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah, to be fair, and honestly, if you want to show people how badass Chuck Norris is, pop either this movie on, or Delta Force, or any of the Missing in Action films, or just pop in Walker, Texas Ranger. You know what? Because seriously, if it wasn't for this particular film, this is like the film that is the ultimate archetype for Chuck Norris. All right, and you know what? It still is a classic, and you can find this movie either on either on the free apps, free on YouTube, on Tubi, or sometimes they'll be on on Netflix every once in a while. We have to pay for it, but either way, you can find it anywhere at this point. All right, if you can't find it on streaming, just throw some balls and you actually get yourself a physical copy and watch the damn movie. Seriously, honestly, people, come on. Anyway, that's that. I'm actually kind of happy I finally did a Chuck Norris film. Very upset that it took this long because I had some family emergency problems, and of course I had a bad cold. Fuck me. But either way, I finally got the review done. So, thank you for your patience, and I hope you enjoyed this video. That being said, take care, and have yourself a good night. Or a good day, depending on the time of day. Anyway, this is Fearox Frank for Fearox Movie Reviews, signing out. Y'all take care.